Okay, for the next part of the installation of the new lock kit, you'll need your lock catch and a grease pencil. We're going to mark the holes for the bolts that hold the lock catch into place. Okay, you're going to catch upside down on the lock like so. Take your grease pencil and you're basically just going to outline the inside of the holes. Okay, take the lock catch away. Okay, you'll take your grease pencil, and where the groove is at the top is where these lines is where you're going to eyeball the line and come straight across as best as you can. And you'll want to make sure that they're as straight as possible and even on both sides. Then, where you had already marked the holes will be the center. You'll come straight down like so for both. And this point here will be your center point for your hole. Okay, now we're going to drill the holes that we had marked. You're going to take your 1/4 inch drill and you're going to drill. The thing you want to remember when you do this is once you drill, you want to rim the holes out a little bit because the heads of the bolts might stress crack the fiberglass. Okay, the next step for installing the new lock, you'll need your lock, your lock catch trip, your spring mount, spring, 2 longer bolts, 2 spacers, 2 washers, 2 lock washers, 2 nuts. You'll need your 10mm socket and ratchet, your 7/16 socket, your red Loctite, and you'll need needle nose pliers for the spring. Okay, now the first step is you're going to take this screw off to put the trip on, and you'll want to hold that or it will fall off. Take your red Loctite. The easiest way to do this is to put that on there and just start this again. That will fall off. Then you'll take your red Loctite and you will just too much, and then you'll want to finger tighten this. Okay, and then you'll take your 10mm, and what you'll do is you'll just snug it, and you'll feel it. The lock tense up as it turns. You want to make sure that it does turn freely, but not too tight, because then it makes it more difficult to unlatch the latch because the lock's too hard to turn. Okay, next you'll take 2 bolts, put them through, take your 2 spacers, put them on, take your catch, you put that on, and you'll want to hold 2 bolts with your fingers, 2 of your fingers, and the catch with 2 other fingers. Okay, then you'll take a washer, lock washer, and a nut on the left side. Just get it started. Now on the other side, you'll take your spring mount, then washer, lock washer, nut. Okay, and then you'll take your 7/16 socket and ratchet, and you'll go ahead and tighten down the left side first. When you do, because the head of the bolt, you want to be careful not to too fast, as it might cause a stress crack. Now on the right side, you'll want to push your spring mount to the right a little bit. That way it tenses up that spring when we go to put that on there. And again, not too fast and don't over tighten. Okay, then we'll go ahead and take your spring and you will hook that into there, take it into those pliers, hook into the other side, and you'll check it by locking it up here and turning it. And you'll want to do that 3, 4, 5 times. That way you know for sure that the trip is hitting the bottom of the catch. Okay, now that we have the bottom part of the new lock assembly installed, you will shut your lid. You will take your lock plate, your grease pencil, and your 1/4-inch drill. You will set the light flush, and you will pull the lid down, and you want to center it with the lock. Okay, once you do, go ahead and make your marks. Okay, then what you're going to do is you're going to slide the lock up, and you want the bottom of the plate to basically just line up with the top groove of the lock. Okay, and once you have that done, go ahead and make another mark. Okay, now that you have these 2 marks, you're going to use these as your center points, but this will be where the holes for the bolts will be drilled. So what you're going to do is you're going to use this as a center, and make your lines in the center. Okay. Okay. Then you're going to take your 1/4-inch drill, and don't forget to ream the holes out. Okay, to finish the lock assembly, you'll need your lock plate, your lock stud and lock nut, the 2 smaller bolts, 2 washers, 2 lock washers, 2 nuts, a 5/8 wrench, 9/16 socket and ratchet, and 7/16 socket. Okay, you'll put your bolts through. Take your lock plate, put that through, and you want to hold the lock plate with your fingers while you get the washer, lock washer, and nut. Just want to get it started. Okay, grab your other washer, lock washer, and nut. Just get it started with your fingers. Okay. Okay, then you'll take your 7/16 and what you'll want to do is you'll want to bring this down and make sure that it's going to line up with the lock. And as you can see, it'll be just off to the right. So all you want to do is just slowly shuffle it that way, and then you can see there it'll line up. Okay, now you're going to tighten down. And again, as before, slow, but not too fast, so that way it doesn't stress crack, and not too tight, or as well it will stress crack. Okay, now that we have that, we'll bring the lid back up just a little bit. You'll take your 9/16 and your 5/8. Now when you put on the lock stud, make sure that the stud is facing away from the trailer. Okay, and then you'll put on your lock, you put on the lock nut until it stops. Okay, then you'll take your 5/8 wrench on the front, your 9/16 on the back, and you'll want to center this first in the center of it and go ahead and tighten it down. Okay, now that you have that tight, we can go ahead and shut it to see if we're going to make it. As you heard, it did latch. Okay, and you may have to adjust it accordingly on how high you measure for the lock plate, whether or not you have to adjust the stud up or down. Okay, open it again and check it again. And as you heard again, it did latch. Once you have that and it latches and it shuts fine and everything seals, you're all set.